So welcome to an unexpected episode. I've been thinking about doing this for a long time, doing this episode, and the show's hit 15 years old this year, and I thought, now's a good time to talk about it. Because also, I kind of wondered about it over the years, and I put a lot of thought into this. A lot of thought, and it's kind of an extraordinary answer, and there's multiple answers, and the question is, why do I sit on the floor to do my episodes? Look at that. Right there, right? Why do I sit on the floor to do the episodes? Some people have surmised that, oh, he can't afford chairs or something like that. That is not the case. That has never been the case. The answer is strange, it's unbelievable, and it's long. So get strapped in for this one because it's kind of a wild thing. I want to say, first of all, when I set up all of these games here, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I was doing episodes in the other room. I was doing episodes standing up. I thought I was going to stand up and do the show. And then one time I set the camera down here and I just was like, oh, I'll just kind of sit down here and do an episode. It wasn't an intentional thing. And I started to do that and then it became a thing. And then all of a sudden I put the camera here, the lights here, and I just kept on going with it. And that's the beginning of it. But here we go with the long answer to this. The long answer to this is that this table right here is a big comfort zone for me. I know that sounds strange. It's from my parents' old house. It was a coffee table there. And I would sit on my knees and I would draw because I was a big artist back then and I would draw all the time on it. And it became a very comforting type of thing. And when I had people over, I would always sit on the floor next to the table and talk to people. And it became this like very comfortable kind of little thing. And so when I left my parents' place, this kind of came along with me. And I didn't really realize that I would ever use it again. I would come in here before I had a games room and I'd sit and draw. I'd draw right here. And I enjoyed the experience. But let's go back even further. Let's go back even further. This is wild. Okay, I am nearly 50 years old. Next year I'm turning 50. I have always, I know this sounds crazy, always sat on the ground and watched things. There's a reason behind it, and it's a video game answer that's really, really wild. Back in the 80s and into the 90s, and especially the 80s though, when I got my NES, like many of you out there, there's many people that grew up with the NES. The NES controller was so short, it was not very, very long, and you'd hook it up to the TV, and then you'd have to kind of get right in front of the TV and play it. You were right there playing it. And so I was kind of trained at an early age just to kind of sit on my knees and play video games. That's what I would do. That's what I always did, and it always felt natural to me. And I don't know, I was also a skateboarder. My legs were really strong. I never even thought about it. And get this, in my parents' old house, they had a concrete floor with a very small layer of carpet. And so I'd sit there for hours and hours playing games that way. Now I want to say, back in the day at my parents' place, when my friend Andrew would come over to visit for like 2 weeks at a time, I was always amazed. I'd wake up in the morning and I'd go into the living room, and there was Andrew. He brought a big chair and put it right in front of the TV and sat there and played it. And I thought, oh my God, this is a civilized man. Look what he's doing. And it was not the thing for me. I couldn't sit in a chair and play a video game. It was weird. I didn't feel like I had the concentration. I had to be like, really like this kind of, you know, focused on all of it. And he's like, oh, there's no way I can sit on the floor. And he, over the years when we'd be playing Street Fighter and stuff back in the day, he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle it. I got to sit in a chair and all of that. But even Rob, when Rob would come over and we'd be playing Street Fighter Alpha 2 back in the 90s, he would always come over, we'd always sit on the floor and we'd play Street Fighter. And that's how that went for a long period of time. And so even when I went to England and I came back, the really interesting thing is I was really getting into anime and video games even more. And I asked my mom, I said, hey, could you do me a favor? And she's like, sure, because she could make things and stuff like that out of material. I said, could you make me like a thin pillow? Because I like to sit on the floor and watch all my stuff. She's like, yeah. So she did all that. And I love that pillow. I love playing games that way, the PC Engine back in the day, all of that. It was just part of my thing. Now, here's another layer that I've thought about recently that's really, really wild and really, really deep. And I kind of think I believe it. I think I kind of believe it. And that is, I've been such into Japanese culture over the years, and Japanese people sit on the floor to eat and to do so many things. And I was like, I wonder psychologically if I took that in a certain way and I started using it into my own lifestyle. You know what I mean? I think I really respect Japanese, the Japanese culture so much that I thought that was really cool doing that. And also I was doing it anyways. So when I came to do the show and I'd be sitting here, I just feel very, very at home and very, very comfortable. If I'm sitting in a chair or something like that to do a show, and I've done many shows for other people's channels, sit in chairs, I don't feel as focused as I do here. And I feel that there is a comfort zone here for me. And here's the thing I want to say, people who come onto the show or, I do interviews with over the years and stuff like that, they come in and they're like, oh yeah, you sit on the floor. They always kind of think it's funny when they come over. And I'm like, yeah. And I always get them pillows. I don't ever take any pillows for myself or anything like that. I never need them. I always get guests pillows so they can sit on them. Or, definitely Rob always needs that and stuff like that. And that's been the legacy of the show. To that I can sit here for like 25, 30 minutes, 2 hours. And my legs are okay. They're a little bit, I feel a little bit after 2 hours or even an hour. But some people come over and they can't even stand up after like half an hour. And they're like, why? And I'm like, I know, I'm so sorry, but this is the way I like it. And probably 90% of the show is me sitting here on my own. So I want it to be the way I want it to be. But I wanted to come in and explain that, because a lot of people have been asking over the years, like, what, you sit on the floor? And most of the audience, most of you guys already know that I sit on the floor. I blew that cover a long time ago. And I want to say something else. I am not ashamed about it. It's nothing I feel bad about, or, oh my God, I'm sitting on the floor to do my show. This is my show, and I can do it any way I want. And this is the way that I've chosen to do it, and it's the way that I feel the most comfortable and the happiest. Really, it is. And I like coming in and sitting down, and I grab all my stuff. I got everything over here and over here. I got episodes piled here, and it has a certain kind of life to it now, and it's created for a strange mythos for the show that people are like, what the heck is going on over that show? And all of that. But yeah, it's honestly from years of playing video games, sitting on the floor. You can't get more authentic than that for doing a video game show than doing it this way. And also, I think because of my love of Japanese culture, that I've incorporated that as well, which was not intentional by any stretch of the imagination. But I just wanted to come in here today and explain why I sit on the floor. What do you guys think of that? Is that funny? Does that make a lot of sense in a lot of ways and all that? And I know you don't notice, I still come in here, and I'll show you here. Oh, I do a lot of art right here. I have all my pens, and I set my pens, and I sit and draw. This is my one station for everything. I draw here, I plan up episodes here, I do the show here, and it's a real comfort for me to do. And I really enjoy it, and it's just something that's become part of the show that I don't even think about. I never think about it until somebody brings it up in a comment, and most people don't even bother. Most people are like, they figured it out a long time ago because they've been watching for so long. But get this, I've been sitting on this floor now for 15 years doing this show this year. I don't know where the time went and all of that, and yeah, my legs are still absolutely fine. I have no problems whatsoever with that. Knock on wood, and all of that. But guys, I just wanted to come in here and do a fun little episode and explain a little bit of behind the scenes of the show that some people may not have understood. That hopefully I've explained it enough now that you get it. You're like, okay, I get it. It's weird, but it's his thing and he's doing it because it is my thing and I am doing it. But I want to come in and explain it to you guys. Absolutely. And I'll ask you, do any of you sit on the floor to play video games still? Do any of you do that? You know, when I sit in the other room now, I always sit on the couch and play. I always do. But when I'm capturing footage, sometimes in the bedroom, because I have some like frame meisters in there, I sit on the floor and do that. And it just feels normal because I grew up that way. I grew up that way in the 80s and 90s. So I don't know any other, but I want to come in and explain that today. That is for sure. So anyways, guys, until next time.